Yes, indeed. UFC back in Australia this weekend. UFC 328 coming up next weekend. Khamzat Chimaev and Sean Strickland. Will it be too controversial? And Charles Oliveira signs a new deal with the UFC. Yeah, let's go. Shall we go? Where are we going? We're going to talk to
I can't hear you, bro. I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Now I hear you.
Something's going on.
Loud and clear, Chico.
Well,
Hackers again, man.
We got things going on. We're always,
They're after Johnny, man. They're coming after the show through Johnny.
They're coming after the show through Johnny.
He got banned a few times, dude.
Huh?
He got banned a few times. He's back.
Right.
I'm just saying. Whoa. A little closer there, bud.
Yeah, I thought
I'm a little closer.
A little closer to you.
Is it you that's handling that, or is that the production?
No, that was me, actually. I was like,
wow, look at this. I thought it was production team doing that.
Let's adjust me. Let's make me look a little bit different. Hey, how about that?
Hey, it's pretty cool, dude.
I did that. I can do that. I can do things like that. Now I look more like you. We look more uniform,
Like the same size. Kind of
yeah.
Let me sit back a bit.
I look too small.
Dude, I have a bit of a cold, man.
I look tiny.
Well, now you look nice and buff.
Huh?
Hey?
What? This is starting.
You look nice and buff now.
Yeah.
No, I have a bit of a cold, dude. You know that.
Yeah.
I had a headache all day. I don't know if I have COVID. You were sick, you said?
Yeah, I've been sick for a while, too.
I couldn't have got
a headache and stuff. Yeah? Things were a little... Yeah, I've had a cold for a good week and a half, but it's feeling like it's getting better now.
I'm just getting it, and I'm telling you. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Here comes your doctor.
Yeah, I got invaded. My doctor's coming to make a house call. We got stuff to talk about here tonight on the showgram. We got things. We got UFC in Perth this weekend. Next weekend is the real one, though. Next weekend is UFC 328. And there's been controversy already with Sean Strickland. I don't know if you saw. He did a little
something about it.
Scrum, and it went a little wild. He was asked what he would do if Khamzat Chimaev jumped him. And he said that he would shoot Khamzat Chimaev. He also talked about goats and Khamzat and his people in a pretty derogatory fashion. He said some pretty gross things about Khamzat. And, people are wondering. I saw Ariel Helwani go on this big rant like, well, it's going to be dangerous and you can't let Strickland and Khamzat talk like this. Somebody might get hurt and somebody could get arrested and the fight could get canceled. And I'm like, take it easy, buddy. We have seen controversial characters in the UFC before. I know a lot of people are very excited about Strickland and Chimaev and what they're going to say next week, and I'm sure it will be inflammatory, but I don't understand the pearl clutching where you go, oh my God, I can't believe Sean Strickland's going to say things, and it's like he says things every time he fights. At this point, I'm kind of used to it. And I don't think we need to be taking seriously the words of a middleweight challenger cage fighter. Like, his opinion on politics do not matter. His opinion on Khamzat Chimaev, his racist ideas, his homophobic ideas are irrelevant. And I really wish that media in MMA would stop asking him these questions and giving him the platform to spout his views. You know his views are wackadoo. Why are you going there? Leave him alone. And when he does speak out, when he does say these things, because you know he's going to say them, because you follow him on Instagram or on Twitter and you see him saying this stuff on his personal page, so then when he's fighting, you want to poke the bear and you want to ask these questions. And of course, you're going to get some ridiculous answers from Sean Strickland. But for us to go as a fight culture, as a society, oh my God, I can't believe what he said. He's a cage fighter. He's not a scholar giving you ideas. He's not a politician, even though sometimes the speeches of cage fighters and politicians seem to mirror, and it's a little scary, but hey, that's another issue for, I think, the White House card. We'll deal with that when it comes. But as far as Sean Strickland goes, he is who he is. It's like, why did you sting me? Well, I'm a scorpion. It's what I do. Why did you bite me? I'm a snake. It's what I do. Why did you say inflammatory, racist, and homophobic things? It's Sean Strickland. It's what I do. I just don't understand this hype train from the media. I mean, some people are talking about this before it even happens. They're like, oh my God, can you imagine what he's going to say before he even says it? You know you're going to ask him the questions. You know you want him to say these things because it's going to give you clicks and it's going to give you things to talk about. It's going to give you topics. It's going to give you excitement. It's going to get fans talking. It might even get some mainstream press attention so that you can go on CNN as an MMA insider and talk about Sean Strickland and how horrible of a person he is. What does that do? That raises your profile, doesn't it? So is Sean Strickland hurting you or is he helping you? Are you building the hype or are you really offended? I think they're building the hype. I think that they are feeding into this beast that is the Sean Strickland media presentation. And I really think we need to shy away from it. And us as MMA fans, we really need to go, hey, these are fighters. What they say doesn't really matter.
Wow, that's love.
And it's about time I get my flowers, let me tell you.
And you took quite a few shots just before the show started. It went from chops to flowers. Johnny would have been proud. Listen, you got a good point there, Dave.
I know.
You're absolutely right. And I'm going to tell you something. Like, people forget, like, the past of guys that have been even more controversial. Let's go back to Conor and Islam. Let's go to Conor throwing the dolly at a bus.
Conor and Khabib.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Conor and Khabib.
Yeah.
Conor with the dolly. I mean, Conor with Mayweather. I mean, it got so insane that how can you not expect somebody like Strickland, to be just as crazy? But let's be honest. I think Conor was even more crazy and more controversial by far. So I'm surprised the media's like taking it back and they're so surprised that this is, it's Strickland. He knows how to like ignite fires. But I still think the king of all talk is still Conor. Or Chael Sonnen for that matter. But let's be honest, you need these guys in the game. This is what brings up the hype. This is what brings up the numbers. And these people love it. They love to talk about it because it does bring numbers. But in the end, it's going to be a great fight. And it's going to be a crazy like press conference, stare down, leading up to the fight. Fight week is going to be insane with these guys. And that's what the UFC wants, right? That's what Paramount wants. It's become an entertainment hub,
Yes.
More than, I don't want to say more than the sports side, but, it's parallel in my opinion.
Look, we know that the UFC will not fire you for anything that you say.
No,
this has been proven. We have had fighters say Hitler was good or whatever Bryce Mitchell said, Remember that Bryce Mitchell stuff? He was like talking about
he was
positively
he was
about
saying some
Hitler,
crazy stuff.
Like, dude, what? Terrible.
But like Dana White said it, he won't get involved with them.
No,
he doesn't
exactly.
care.
So it does not matter what you say. So the UFC fighters know that they are allowed to say whatever they want. So Sean Strickland knows he's not going to get fired for words. He's good. As long as he fights, as long as he performs, as long as he does what Uncle Dana asks him to do, he's good. So what are we talking about here? Why are we still upset? This is the nature of the UFC beast. It's just I'm tired of getting offended and being shocked when a UFC fighter says terrible stuff. And we're supposed to be shocked that the UFC doesn't like fire them or do something or, doesn't promote them in main events. This is what the UFC does. They don't care. They don't care. Sean Strickland says terrible things. And you know what? There's a lot of people that agree with him somehow. I don't agree with the things that he says for the most part. I would say 99% of the stuff he says, I go, what? You know, there's always a 1%. You're like, all right, I guess I kind of understand that. But pretty much everything he says is a little bonkos, right? But I don't need to agree with everything he says. Some people like it. I understand that there's a demographic for that for some reason. And Khamzat Chimaev obviously has fans. And the fact of the matter is this. They are the two best middleweights in the UFC. Sean Strickland is a legitimate contender who looked fantastic in his last fight. And Khamzat Chimaev is this unstoppable force who has not been beaten, who has crushed through every opponent that he has faced. He walked right through Dricus du Plessis, and now he's in his first title defense against a legit former champion who looked better in his last fight than he did maybe ever before. So these are two prime middleweights at the height of their career. Sean Strickland is taking this fight very seriously. His training has been world-class for this. You see some of the guys he's training with. It's top of the line. He is preparing for the fight of his life. And I really wish that that were the focus. But because of the personalities involved, we're interested in all these other things, when at the end of the day, we don't actually get the fight questions across. People are too busy asking what Sean Strickland thinks about genders and bathrooms and not talking about wrestling defense and the teep kick and jab. No one is going to say a single thing about a push kick to Sean Strickland, even though it's one of his major weapons and he uses it a lot. And, you know, is he going to use it against Khamzat? Would that be effective? To throw kicks, you're always in danger to get that leg caught and get taken down. How do you approach a guy like Khamzat? There's a lot of questions because Khamzat Chimaev is a very interesting martial arts puzzle. He hasn't been solved. And I wonder if Sean Strickland has some thoughts on how to solve it. But no one really cares to ask Sean Strickland about that, even though he is a fighter and that is his field of expertise. We want to ask him about politics. You know? I just don't get it. And it's this fascination, and you want to fan the flames of hatred and division and all of this. I really prefer to keep politics and all that other stuff outside of my fighting. I don't like it in fighting. I don't think it has any place in fighting. I don't think it helps promote fights. I think it is a detriment to fight promotion because you are turning off a huge segment of the audience whether you go one way or the other. Don't go any way. Don't choose a side. It's better for business that way. It's better for you as a fighter, as a brand, to not be clearly on one side. I can't imagine Sean Strickland has a lot of gay fans, if there are any gay UFC fans left, given their stance on so many things. The things that Sean Strickland says, you go, oh. And it is kind of hard to defend the sport. Johnny North says lots of politics in sports now. That's true, but I don't know any other sport that's holding an event on the White House lawn. You know? I don't know if there is any other sports league that is more closely tied to the current American, what do you call it, regime, than Dana White and the UFC. I have not seen Rob Manfred hanging out with Donald Trump on numerous occasions. I haven't seen it.
There's a history behind that too, Dave, right? Like, we got to always remember
they have
that
a prior relationship, and Trump was there
but it's
for
also
Dana and the UFC in the past, and he's a fight fan. And sure,
but he wasn't only in the past. I mean, he's the result why the UFC is in existence. Let's be honest, as well as the WWE. If it wasn't for Trump to give venues for Dana White, it's true, Dave. He helped.
He's not the reason why those companies
exist. Listen, you don't have
helpful.
You don't have a venue, you don't have a fight, and I know that because I was doing fight events. And if I didn't have that venue, how was I supposed to fill? It's impossible. And it wasn't easy to get venues outside of the contacts that I had. Most people wouldn't give it to you based on the nature of what the sport is. And that's what I'm saying. So the closeness between Dana White and Trump is because Trump helped the UFC get to the next level. And that's what the closeness is. And a lot of
Vince
other
could have found another venue for WrestleMania 4 if he really needed to, though. I mean, that's
you know what? But no one stepped up, but Trump did, and that's the thing. You got to give credit where credit is due.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
Yep. He has been a friend to fights and in pro wrestling, no doubt.
He has, and that's why I'm saying that closeness is there. Mm-hmm. I agree with you. Sometimes, things get out of hand and it gets crazy, but unlike other sports where, other than hockey, where you get maybe that. Clip of after the game is done and you have the first star talking with the reporter and talking to an audience. Now that's a new thing, literally. That's as close as you're going to get to that athlete. But in the UFC, not even in boxing, you don't really get to hear an athlete speaking, on whatever. The UFC does it because it's part of that entertainment package. That's why they get away with a lot of stuff. And people like to hear it. The good and bad, man. There's no such thing as bad marketing. And the UFC knows that. If that was the case, it would have been wrapped up a long time ago, with the Diaz brothers.
Well, yeah. I mean, controversy creates cash, like the great Eric Bischoff had for his book title and made famous. Of course. And controversy has helped Sean Strickland. If Sean Strickland doesn't say the things that he says, he is not as popular as he is right now, right?
But let's not forget he's a former champion, dude. He's not just some guy that's on the outside, eh?
I think that there's maybe a way for him to have acted that makes him more profitable, but I'm not sure. I think that, what he's done for himself has worked. It's raised his profile. It's gotten him into big fights, I think, because people are paying attention to him. But also, he's a very high-level MMA fighter. I just wonder, if Sean Strickland has the personality of, a George St. Pierre, where he's just very, respectful and all of this, right? Does he get title fights? Does he rise as quickly in the UFC? He's got, some losses, but he's got a lot of good wins. But I don't know if Strickland, I don't know if that personality helps him or hurts him. I'm of the opinion that it actually has helped him.
Yeah.
And you would think that it wouldn't. You would think that saying stuff like that would not help you financially and in raising your profile in a sport. In most sports, saying those things would get you kicked out of the league. But I think that it has actually helped him. And in turn, helped the UFC. Which is crazy.
Yeah.
And it's given us stuff to talk about. And it's given everybody that talks about MMA something to talk about.
You're right. And it goes the same thing for Conor, going back in the past. Here we are. Conor's going to be fighting soon. But Conor's shtick is really what propelled him from making $5,000 in his first fight to the UFC to being close to $1 billion today. I mean, he knew what to do to carry that WWE shtick, and Strickland knows he's going to be the heel. But to some people, they just love that heel. There's a lot of heels in wrestling where you like them more than, the hero. You know what I'm saying? Let's be honest.
Sure.
So that's what I'm saying. And it's very similar between the shtick of the UFC and WWE. Very similar, man. They just knew Conor was the guy who was able to put it together best, I think. and the other guys are following. There's a lot of guys, as you can see, are trying to follow that Conor shtick, either good or heel in the UFC. And, even outside of the UFC, you got guys like Armin Tsarukyan. Like, he does some crazy stuff outside of the UFC. And at one point, no one knew his name, right? Am I right, Dave? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
He was winning. He was devastating, but nobody really knew who Armin was. Yeah. We knew him. Fight fans that are really into the UFC know him. But, man, he wasn't really known. Now, you hear him everywhere you go. Yep. From, freestyle wrestling to just riding an airplane to, walking the streets of the U.S. There's something happening with Armin, and usually it's like press news. So he knows what to do. He has to elevate his name, and he's becoming a sort of like heel, but a very, very legitimate, dangerous heel.
And he's doing it without fighting. He's doing it without fighting. He's doing it mostly with social media, and it's working very well for him because just winning wasn't working. There wasn't. No. If there was a serious outcry for Armin Tsarukyan to get that fight with Islam Makhachev, he would have got that fight. If the fans were just going nuts for Armin at that point, that fight would have been rescheduled. But the fact of the matter is, when Islam fought Armin the first time, when they were scheduled to fight the second time, they fought once before, but when they were scheduled to do that rematch for the belt, most fans went, who's Armin Tsarukyan? Couldn't pick him out of a lineup. And when Armin pulled out the night before or whatever happened there, and the UFC just moved on from Armin, a lot of fans went, yeah, whatever. Who the hell's Armin Tsarukyan anyways? But now, given Armin's profile, I think people would be really upset if Armin was pulled from that fight. Like, I think if Islam and Armin were fighting now, it would be a big fight.
Yeah.
But when they were initially scheduled to fight for that belt, it was like, whatever. Who's Armin?
Who is this guy?
Who is this guy? But now it would be a real big deal. And Armin has done that, not by fighting, just by doing Instagram and stuff like that. Like, the fighting has backed it up, but the fighting isn't enough. You got to do the extra stuff. And for Sean Strickland, it's controversial talk. For Armin Tsarukyan, it's hanging out with that Nina drama and streaming and eating large portions of food. I mean, I don't really get it. It's not really exciting stuff, but I go, oh, he's on my timeline a lot, so he must be doing something right.
Well, but that's it. So, and this is how it's working now, is that, you're getting all these guys like Neil or whatever his name is hanging with Faraz at TriStar and coming into like Montreal, and there's like waves of people wanting to see this guy who looks like a real geek to me. Yeah. But the guy has a following that makes a difference. And Armin and all the rest are starting to realize, hanging out with these so-called like media influencers gets them those eyes. That's the real marketing. You know what I'm saying? And then every once in a while, punching a guy at the freestyle wrestling and doing these crazy things, like eating like copious amounts of crazy food gets you views. But that's what is the way to get to the big ticket and to be that headliner and to get the money in the sport.
What happened to
it's different, dude. The sport has, listen, it's crazy,
I never saw Chuck Liddell hanging out with nerds or eating large amounts of food on Instagram or whatever.
Well,
I just saw him with a mohawk looking like a badass knocking people out. That's what I saw. When the Iceman was running things were good, baby. When Chuck Liddell was out there, he didn't do any of that bullshit. He wouldn't hang out with Neon. No. Are you kidding me? Chuck Liddell wouldn't do
none of them
shit.
Would. But that's what I'm trying to say is if you look at back in the days of Pride, when those guys used to go out to like Japanese clubs and things like that, these guys were like they were like gods to a lot of like
but
the
now
Japanese.
Rampage is doing that shit. You see Rampage? He's one of these streamers now hanging out with these little kids. What the hell's Rampage doing?
But he's not stupid, Rampage.
I mean, back. The pride
but that's what I'm trying to say. Think about the times. What was it? Was it Lee versus Tito Ortiz that got into a major scrap at a bar? And I think Chuck Liddell was there, and it was I forgot who it was, but it was a major fight where Tito got knocked down. This is the type of stuff that these guys did back in England. I think it was.
Yeah. Lee Murray.
Yeah, Lee Murray, who went to jail for like the biggest bank heist. Yeah, which he was really good. Yeah, he was amazing. And I'd love to have an interview with that guy, man. Mind you, he's not a look. Some of the shit he's done wasn't
No,
cool,
let's
but
not
all
talk
to say
about
is,
that guy.
let's
I
not
don't
talk.
think
Yeah,
we wanna...
but what I'm trying to get
He's
at is
incarcerated
it was a
currently.
different time. Yeah, and he's done a lot of like some crazy stuff prior. Like I won't even mention it, but it's a different time. And that's where I'm getting back to, like that guy Neon. Neo? Is it Neo or Neon?
Neon.
One of the two. Neon. Is it Neon? I mean, this guy, dude, like honestly, he looks like your average like gaming geek in the basement, man. Who hasn't come out for like weeks. But yet this guy is out there. He's eating at the finest restaurants, like, hanging around with some of the hottest women and this and that. And he's going up to Faraz's place at TriStar with real killers, and everybody wants to be seen with them. This is what the game is all about. And I know exactly where it all started. And I called it a long time ago, before Ariel Helwani, before Joe Rogan, before Dave Simon. I called it. I said Jake Paul was going to change the face of sports. And I was right. And Jake Paul is the guy that started all this. Let's be honest. Jake Paul. Yeah, man, because we're going to Neon. Neon is nothing if it wasn't for a Jake Paul to come in and change the face of sports.
He doesn't fight that guy. He's just a streamer.
But they don't need to fight, Dave. That's the thing. They just need to be relevant. And fighters want to be, or any athlete is going to take pictures with these guys. Maybe me and you won't, but, you got this guy, Ice Speed, that's coming into like WWE and fighting and almost like,
Ice Speed.
Kill Ice Speed, man. Think about it. Dave, Ice Speed actually was pretty good in the match. I'll give him credit for that. But this is what you're getting,
Yeah.
It's a different game, man. It's a different game. Johnny needs to hang with an influencer soon, because Johnny is probably the best wrestler in Canada, but he's not hanging around with a Neo or a Neon. He hangs around with Dave Simon and AJ and Fred. We're influencers, but like not at that level. Not yet, anyways.
One day, AJ, you could be as big as Neons.
I could be, man. I'd be eating lobster, man, like him and everything. Coming out with my fur coat out of a limousine with my Scarpinis, hanging with Johnny North, Dave Simon, making our way to Vegas. But you know what? That's what it all comes down to, dude. It's insane. The amount of visibility with some of these like influencers is insane.
Of course. Yeah, it's a huge
think about it. My kid is like, it's a huge business.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
And that's where it's all. You know what I'm saying? Armin knows exactly what to do. What happened?
Yeah, Armin's doing well for himself, and hopefully he fights in the UFC soon. I don't know what we're waiting for. Why no fight from Armin? AJ, are you with me?
Yo, bro, I'm with you, bud.
Who's he gonna fight? Like, what's the deal? Armin doesn't have a fight, right?
He doesn't have a fight yet, but we'll see.
When's the last time he fought in the UFC? He fought Dan Hooker in November 2025. It's April. What are we waiting for? When's he gonna fight in the UFC?
I don't know, man. It's weird. It's a weird thing.
Yeah.
Even like Chimaev, I mean, like, these guys are not fighting enough.
Well, Chimaev is fighting next week, AJ, so relax.
I know, dude, but let's, like, in a year, man, a lot of these guys with hot names are not fighting enough,
Yeah, hot and wild.
It's going to be a great fight. Hot and wild, man. UFC.
Yeah, Strickland Chimaev is going to be great. We're going to preview that one next week. Strickland Chimaev is the main event for the middleweight title next week in New Jersey. Josh Van against Tatsuro Taira for the flyweight titles on that. Alexander Volkov versus Waldo Cortez Acosta. Sean Brady, Joaquin Buckley, and Jeremy Stevens against King Green.
King Green. Good old King.
But this weekend, you got Jack Della Maddalena taking on Carlos Prates. Jack Della, in his first fight since losing the welterweight title to Islam Makhachev, looking to bounce back against a very tough welterweight challenger here in Carlos Prates, and Carlos is surging in the UFC welterweight division. He's won 4 of his last 5, including 2 in a row, both by knockout to Jeff Neal and Leon Edwards, the former champ. So Prates looking to dispose of two former champions back-to-back, and you got to figure that a win here would give Carlos Prates a title shot against Islam Makhachev. Now, the word is Islam does know who his opponent will be, and I feel like all signs are pointing towards Ian Gary. I think Ian Gary and Islam is going to be the next fight for the welterweight title. Hopefully it's not Kamaru Usman against Islam, because I really don't think that fight needs to happen. I think Ian Gary is a much more interesting matchup, and I'm seeing posts from Ian Gary, kind of cryptic stuff, and Islam is not saying who, but he's saying that he's got a fight and just waiting on final details. So it seems like it'll probably be Islam versus Ian Gary next for the welterweight title. But if Carlos Prates wins this fight against Jack Della, you got to figure he would be next in line or right up there. I don't know what else he would have to do to get next against Islam or Ian Gary, whoever comes out winner there. Jack Della, another loss here, and he finds himself further down the list. A win gets him still in that zone where he's still in the top 5. He's on the hunt for another title shot, and I don't think that a win here against Carlos would give him another title shot, but it would probably put him a fight away from doing so. I think it would put him one major win away in the division from getting another shot and getting a rematch with Islam or whoever's champion at that point. But I think this is a very big fight. I'm going to try and wake up early Saturday morning because I know they're doing it Australia time. I think it's, a 5 a.m. main card start time?
Yeah, that's right.
So I think this is a fight worth waking up for. It's actually 7 a.m. main card, AJ. 7 a.m.
The prelims.
Prelims are 5? No, I think prelims must be earlier than that. Prelims are 4.
Let me just
prelims
see.
are 4,
Let me just see.
And main card is 7 a.m. I have it right in front
Oh, sorry.
Don't worry about it. I got it.
It's actually showing me 2 a.m. Yeah, Eastern time.
That's incorrect. It's 7 a.m. Eastern time is the main card, and the main event will probably be around, let's say, maybe 9:30, 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. So it won't even be that early. Jack Della versus Carlos Prates. It's a big fight at welterweight. A win gets Prates a title shot or damn close to it, and a win for Jack Della keeps him in that zone. And a loss, bumps them down the ladder, which is a ladder very hard to climb, and they've both climbed to, almost the top, I mean, Jack Della had that belt. He just lost it. But a win or two, especially a win here against a top fighter like Carlos Prates, keeps him in the mix and keeps him very close for another shot. So, huge fight for both guys. Career-making type of fight for both guys. I think it's a slight advantage for Jack Della because he is at home in Perth, Australia. But, man.
But you're talking with a powerhouse, man, who's not KO'd or TKO'd 13 of his last 13 wins. Yeah. He's coming in, and you're going to be stopped. I mean, that's the thing. The power behind Prates is crazy. The only thing is he's a little older, 32-year-old Brazilian, going against, JDM. And you're right, he's fighting in his hometown. But this is going to be one hell of a tough fight for him. I mean, if he can hold that defensive strategy, JDM, he'll be able to skate through and probably win by decision. But it's going to be a tough one because if he gets in that pocket and his defense is not able to stop it, he's going to be 14 out of 14 wins in Perth. It's going to be tough, dude. It's a hard one to call on this one. Look what he did to Leon Edwards. Let's not forget.
It's
That's
tough.
Leon Edwards.
Yeah.
And that was brutal, dude. That was brutal.
Right now, Carlos Prates minus 125, slight favorite. Jack Della minus 105. So it's basically a pick 'em fight. The odds makers kind of feeling the way we are. I'm going to give an advantage to Jack Della. I think that he has been in these big spots before. He has some big wins on his record, and I think he's a little bit more well-rounded. He's never been finished in the UFC, and he was on a huge win streak before running into Islam Makhachev. And I think that Carlos Prates is very good, but I don't think anyone would say he's Islam Makhachev. I think Islam is just on another level, and JDM ran into a brick wall there. But being at home, I think he's going to be able to withstand the power of Carlos Prates. I think he will have an answer to what Prates is doing. I think fight IQ-wise, JDM outmatches him. I really like that gym and how they game plan for their fights, the City Kickboxing Gym. They're very smart, very planned, very thought out. And I think that JDM, similar to when he fought Bilal Muhammad, will come out with a perfect game plan and the perfect way to fight Carlos Prates. And again, I think that hometown crowd fighting on Australia time in Australia, I think is going to be tough for Carlos and is going to be easy for JDM because that's his time. That's his time zone. It's his people. So I'm going to say that JDM pulls this one out. I'm not going to give you a method of victory. I just think that JDM is going to win. I would say probably a decision, if I'm pressed for a method. I don't think either man gets finished. I think it's a tough fight. It's one of those 3 rounds to 2 type of deals, and JDM gets the win.
You know what? I agree with you on some point, Dave, but the thing is that let's not forget, man, Prates is one hell of a dynamic fighter. Yeah. The guy has like a crazy backhand. His knee stomps and his leg kicks are so heavy and dangerous. I mean, the guy is on a kill streak. If he's in, he sees blood, it's all over. And that's what I'm saying. For JDM to really take this fight has to be top level defensive boxing because he's one of the most technical boxers in the division. But the thing is that if he's not able to defensively and counter strike and do everything he needs to turn this into a boxing match, and stay away from those leg kicks, I think it's going to be a bad night for him. I'm actually going the other way. I think it's going to be a bad night in Perth. I think the dingo's going to be gone, unfortunately.
Yeah. I just think what Ian Gary did to Carlos Prates kind of made a blueprint for what you're supposed to do. I think JDM can do that. I think JDM can definitely do that. But I think that the blueprint that Islam provided on how to beat JDM in the UFC is not something Carlos Prates is capable of, So I think if you're looking at how you beat this guy, I think JDM has a path to victory that he can kind of see and follow, whereas Carlos Prates can't look at what Islam did to him and be like, oh, I'm going to do that, because that's nowhere near his game, right? So I just see JDM finding more ways, and like you said, his boxing is some of the best in the division. I think Carlos is going to have problems landing those shots, but very interesting fight, and I don't blame you for going the other way.
It's a tough one, man. This could go either or, man.
It's one of those fight nights where you go, "Oh, I really want to see this main event." A lot of times, these fight night cards, you don't care about the main event, but this is a good one. This is a very good main event. They've done well for Perth.
Yeah, it's a good one, but that's why it's going to be such a hard one to really bet on. But if there's any stoppage on my end with Prates, it's going to be a knockout. That's what he's going for, and I don't think it'll go to decision. If it does go to decision, I'm pretty sure at that point there, it's JDM that's going to take it.
Yeah,
but
that's how I see it.
I could see, if anything happens, of like Prates' deadly power, it'll happen like in the second or third round, most probably in the third round. If it goes any further than that, that means he just can't close the deal. But like I said, it's an either or, man. It's defense, versus like cardio, and we'll see. I mean, mind you, JDM's cardio is insane. It's a tough one, dude. It's a tough one to call. But I'm giving that edge to Prates.
Should be a good fight. We got some other good fights on this one. A couple of heavyweight fights that look fun. Brando Pericic taking on Shamil Gaziev, and Tai Tuivasa against Louis Sutherland. I think will be some fun rock'em sock'em heavyweight fights.
Oh, yeah.
Those will be good. Co-main event for this one is Beneil Dariush and Quillian Salkild. Quillian is Australian, and he's 11-1 with he's just 26 years old. Coming off a win there over Jamie Malarkey in his last fight, looking great. Looking really good over Nasrat Kasparas before that, too. he's been impressive so far in his short UFC career, and he's looking to get a win against a name fighter here at 155 pounds in Beneil Dariush. Beneil's been in some big fights against Tsarukyan, against Charles Oliveira, against Benoit Saint-Denis, all losses. He did beat Renato Moicano, though, and that was the last time he won back in June of 2028. Beneil, though, has lost 3 of his last 4 and is 36 years old. Could be
it's a tough one, dude.
Here for him. The young lion in Quillian Salkid looking to make a name for himself off Beneil, and the odds makers think the Australian has it. Minus 500 is Salkid, plus 350 is Beneil Dariush, and that makes a lot of sense to me. That's how
and you got it right. This is almost like, a fight for the fans, where Quinlan, who is amazing, he's on an 11-fight winning streak, this guy. His last fights that we've seen, his last 4 fights in the UFC are all been like, holy smokes, who is this kid, man? Sal killed. Yep. Don't forget that name. And he's coming up. It's a setup fight. You're going up against a big name like Beneil Dariush. But let's not forget, at UFC 322, he got knocked out in 16 seconds by BSD. Benoit Saint-Denis destroyed him in 16 seconds. And that's not a guy that's no chump change. You're talking about a guy who's one of the best at the game at one point in that division, an elite grappler, top-level BJJ guy, just resilient. Beneil Dariush has always been a guy where you're like, put your money on him. He'll pretty much win that fight. But, Father Time is pretty nasty, and I think this is that setup fight, to get the Australian fans all hyped up. And that's, Quinlan doesn't need – I think he'll move up regardless of who's in front of him, but it's a big win if he could beat Dariush. I think this is an easy pick him, in my opinion. I think if you want to go with one fight, put a little extra money on, I think Quinlan will deliver.
Yeah.
And he might deliver like with a stoppage.
Speaking of money, AJ, maybe we could do a little parlay.
A little, sure. Let's do it. A little
parlay, okay? Mine's gonna be real lazy. Okay. I think I'm gonna give
mine's gonna be a little crazy.
2 fights. Lazy. There's no women's fights on this card. I don't know. Where's the women?
No, I don't see anything
Kobe
here. Hold on a
Thickness
sec.
on the card. Kobe Thickness. It's a good name, but I'm not betting.
He's thick.
He's the thickness, baby. It's a tough one. I'm going with JDM. I'm going with Quillian, and I want to throw another one on here. I might go with Jonathan McAuliffe. I think he pulls it off. How about that? There's 3 fights.
Okay, look at my notes here.
He's going to beat Themba Gorimbo. Themba Gorimbo. I got Jonathan McAuliffe minus 250 on the prelims over Themba Gorimbo. I got Quillian Salkid minus 500 over Beneil Dariush. And I've got Jack Della Maddalena minus 105, slight dog, over Carlos Prates. It's a $20 parlay, plus 228 is your number on this parlay. 20 gets you 65.60.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
McAuliffe.
I like it.
Salkid, Della Maddalena. Whoop. Whoop.
Mm-hmm.
Whoop. Whoop.
Looks good, dude.
Whoop. Whoop.
It's gonna be a tough one, man.
What you got for me?
Well, I'm gonna go with the main card. I'm gonna go right down the pipe. I'm gonna go with Carlos Prates to defeat Jack Della Maddalena.
Yep.
But I think the hero for Perth is gonna be Quinlan. So I'm going with Quinlan over Beneil Dariush. And then I'm gonna go with Tim Elliott over Steve Erceg.
Okay.
Steve. And then I'm gonna go with Shamil Gaiziev over Brando. Good old Brando.
Ooh, picking some dogs here. Okay.
Yeah, man. Shamil. And then I'm gonna go with Tai Tuivasa. I think Tai Tuivasa is gonna deliver in the hometown crowd, more or less.
Okay. Interesting little parlay you got there. And here it is. This is the team agent.
Thanks for sticking with us to the end. We would really appreciate it if you could help us spread the.
We could spread the word, but don't cut us off.
I don't know. I thought that. Did I just end the show? That was a weird one.
Yeah, you just ended it.
Wow.
Thanks, guys. Later.
Ah, well.
Yeah, let's see what's happening here.
Maybe we should end. Shamil plus 110. Tim Elliott, plus 165. Tai Tuivasa, minus 230. Quillian Southgate, minus 500. Carlos Prates, minus 125. $20. That's a plus 1625 parlay. That's big. 20 gets you 344.93. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Listen, man, that's
Shamil
that's
plus 110.
possible, man.
Elliott plus 165. Tuivasa, Southkill, and Prates. AJ with the big time parlay. Big time parlay.
Yep.
Wow. Whoa.
You call that a knife?
What? All right. Well, they're going to Australia, and that's what's happening this weekend in the UFC. You know, I mentioned Charles Oliveira. He signed a new deal with the UFC, an 8-fight deal.
Who, Dave? I'm sorry. I missed that.
Charles Oliveira. Chucky Olives.
Chucky?
Yeah, Chucky
What?
Olives, who is 36 years old and has 49 professional fights. Coming up on his 50th fight at 36 years old. Like, he did look great against Max Holloway, okay, fine. But his manager is like, he's going to be fighting till he's 40. And I'm like, I think he's going to be fighting past that. Because if he's 36 and he just signed an 8-fight deal, you really think he's going to get 2 fights a year for the next 4 years? You think he's going to crash this deal out in 4 years? I mean, 2026, he's already, he's got 8 fights left on this deal, you would think. So he's going to have to fight, what, twice in 2026? Twice in 2027? I mean, this guy, this is not happening, dude. And I just couldn't believe that this manager was celebrating this deal. Now, I'm sure you're getting a lot of money for these fights. I wonder where it's weighted, though. Like, imagine you get, say, $100,000 for your first fight, $200,000 for your second fight. But if you get to that 7th or 8th fight, it's like $2 million per fight. But hey, you're never going to get to that fight because you're going to get beaten to shit and retired before that. And then we're going to keep you under contract forever so you can't go make a payday anywhere else. I just don't understand a fighter at Charles Oliveira's stage in his career at 36 years old.
You never know what the UFC's
8-fight contract. 8-fight contract.
But you don't.
Another predatory contract from the UFC. I mean, he signed it, so that's on him and his management, but I don't know. It's like if you go back to the UFC and you go, hey, I only want to sign like a 3-fight deal. Do they go, oh, well, no? Or do they go, well, we're going to offer you way less money for that deal? Like, is the UFC incentivizing the 8-fight contract? Are they like, hey, listen, we could sign you a 3-fight deal worth this much money, or we could sign you an 8-fight deal worth this much money. How about that? More money. I mean, is that the situation here with the UFC? Because I don't really understand these fighters at 36 coming up on 50 pro fights signing an 8-fight contract that your manager thinks is going to take you till 40 years old, but would, in all likelihood, will take you past that and will actually take you to the point where you don't want to fight anymore and you still have like 3 fights left on your deal, and then the UFC just holds you under contract forever, where you have to ask them permission to do a boxing match for charity in your hometown.
Yeah, but you know what, Dave? I think, with a guy like Chucky Olives, I mean, the UFC is also setting up for the future of their young lions that are coming up. You always need to have a big name to beat. And what's going to happen is that they have nothing to lose, the UFC, because what they're going to do is if Chucky loses like 3 in a row, they could cut his contract. It's not guaranteed 8. It doesn't mean that he's going to fight all 8 unless he's winning. And at the tail end of his career, let's just say he's like, Father Time is going to be on him. But if some young guy comes up and fights a Chucky Olive, who was, a legendary fighter up to this point, and beats him,
name off the old guy.
Going to make exactly, and that's how it works. And then so they're going to keep him there till he either
as a name
can fulfill it. That's it. But it won't. I know.
Man, he should have retired 3 fights ago. And you go, well, he's under contract, so he's going to fight this thing out.
But he probably won't, Dave. Let's be honest. I don't think.
Right. So
he's going to
why
go past...
sign the deal? Would you sign a deal like that at his age?
No. No,
Me
I
neither.
wouldn't, because you know that you're going to be set up at some point,
I
and
don't
that's
get
what
it.
it's all about.
I don't get
You know, listen, his manager decided, like, I'd love to see what the contract, was all about for 8 fights. I like to see the dollar figures. I like to see certain conditions. I would find that very interesting. But Chucky Olives is a big name. But in reality, Chucky Olives has maybe at best 2 more years.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So
2 more years. That's it.
why is your manager even wanting you to fight to 40? I mean, whose best interest does he really have? I don't know.
Maybe there was a signing bonus that they said, listen, you sign in for 8.
Sure.
But that's always negotiable. I mean, he loses 3 in a row.
He just signed his life away.
Yeah, he did. Pretty
He
much.
signed the rest
for
of
8
his
fights.
fighting life away to the UFC.
But he's
Good
had
luck with all
a great
that.
career. But he's made some good money. Like, he helps a lot of charities out in Brazil. He's involved a lot in school programs, in the educational programs as well. I'm not sure if he even opened up a school. I got to look into that. It's something reminds me that he opened up something as of a school. So he's looking at just making money, to continue his endeavors. But, 8 fights is not going to happen, I'm pretty sure. But he's been a great fighter. And, if he thinks he can fight 8 more times, kudos to him.
Well, AJ, we've done it all. We will be back, of course, next week. Fred is not here because he's like teaching a jiu-jitsu class now.
Yeah, he's doing a jiu-jitsu class for kids.
No, it's adults he's teaching. He's teaching like
For
a no-gi
adults?
class.
Nice,
Fred is big
good for
time
him.
now, Fred's big time.
He's a big shot. He's an influencer now.
But he's told me that he will miss no more. He will be on all the watch-alongs, and I'm even pressing him to come to do one watch-along this summer in studio with me and AJ. So that'll be exciting.
Yeah.
Imagine.
And get Johnny in there, too. We need the whole crew there.
We don't need Johnny. Why
not, man?
We don't need him. The Yankees didn't play today. The Red Sox didn't play today. The Blue Jays are losing 3-1 to the Twins. The Mets lost again. Luke Weaver blew a game for the Mets, which made me chuckle a little bit because at least he's not doing it for the Yankees. The Mets are so bad. It's crazy. They got the second highest payroll in baseball, and it doesn't help, does it? No, it doesn't. You could spend all the money you want, but you got to spend it correctly. Second highest payroll in baseball, not so good. The first highest payroll and the third highest payroll, those teams are doing very well. The Dodgers and the Yankees, they're doing well. The Mets, second highest payroll, I don't know what they're doing, but it's failing left and right. It's crazy. I saw them pick up Weaver and Williams. I was like, what do you want those guys for? They're bad. Did you not watch any Yankee games last year? They were the reason why we lost so many games. And now they're trying to use them as their pitchers. It's very strange. Anyways, go Yankees. They'll play the Orioles tomorrow, 7:05, first pitch in the Bronx. Yanks back in the Bronx after a road trip that was pretty successful. They went to Boston, swept, went to Houston, took 2 of 3, went to play Texas Rangers, took 2 of 3 there. So pretty successful road trip, I'd say, all in all for the Bronx Bombers. Good enough for first place in the AL East and best record in the American League. And hey, the Canadians are
nice
3-2 on the Tampa.
That's right.
Tampa Rays, Tampa Lightning.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. Don't forget the Habs, man. Tomorrow night
they won last
night.
How
win
about
it.
That?
They win the series, man. Johnny's gonna be rocking and rolling
tomorrow night.
I'm sure Antoinette.
Game 6. Canadians
That's
could
it, man.
put it away at the Bell Center tomorrow and advance to the next round of the playoffs. Let's go. I hope they do it.
That's right.
Wow, 7 o'clock.
Penguins
game
are
6.
out.
Big game
but the
tomorrow,
Habs are still
Johnny
there,
North. My God. Wow.
Oh, it's a big game, dude. It's a big game. And you know
the
what?
Yanks played an afternoon game yesterday. Lost. So there was nothing on in the evening time. I watched a little of the Canadians game. And they won.
It's exciting, man.
Yeah, it was good
But they're
because they
exciting
were
team.
up 1-0. And then
1-1.
The Tampa tied it 1-1. But then the Canadians scored again, and it was like, boom, take that, 2-1. I was like, oh, that's good. But then Tampa scored again, and it was 2-2. But then the Canadians scored, and it was 3-2. And then they held on, and they won. Crazy.
Listen, man, they have a great team, and that's one thing with the Canadians. One of the youngest. I'm not sure if they are the youngest, but they're one of the youngest teams in the NHL. It just goes to show you with the caliber of players that they have: 50 goal scorers, 100-point, scorers. I mean, these guys are set to be the future, man. They're going to be a dynasty in the years to come, and it took 30 years for the Canadians to get there, but we're there. Les Canadiens sont finalement là.
I was watching a little hockey last night, right? Do you understand the rules of hockey? Like why penalties happen?
Well, it depends on what type of penalty, but there's so many reasons that they can happen.
The Canadians, his stick broke, right?
Right.
And then he went to play the puck with his broken stick. And he seemed to get a penalty for that. And I'm like, well, what's he supposed to do?
You're supposed to, anytime, if I'm not mistaken, Johnny can answer this better, but
you're supposed to go back to the
if you have a broken stick, you have to drop that stick.
But
because
if your stick breaks and then the puck is at your feet, what are you supposed to do? Run away from it? You can't just smack it with your broken stick and try to pass it to one of your buddies before going to get another stick? I thought it was odd. I was like, did he get a penalty for hitting the puck with a broken stick? Can somebody clear that up for me?
Yeah, it was a bit, but that break of the stick was at the top.
It was like delay of game. I was like, delay of game? Yeah, Johnny says delay of game, he got a penalty. Yeah, is that that's a weird, I didn't know that was a rule. I was watching that, I was like, why did he get a penalty? Because his stick broke? That doesn't seem like his fault.
Well, that's the thing, but he was kind of holding that stick, which the top part of it was broken. So usually it's the blade that breaks and whatnot. So as soon as that happens, obviously you have a disabled stick. But he kind of tried to play it with a broken stick. He just dropped his hands a little further down.
I didn't know that.
It's not allowed because, it's a delay of game. Yeah, it's actually a dangerous play in my sense, but, because it's a broken stick. But anyways, listen, regardless of that, the Canadians are playing. They're playing really good.
Yeah.
They're on top of it. And somebody brought up a good comment, and I think Johnny can agree with this. The team is not only just a great team, they're actually great friends. And, when that guy said it, it reminded me of Italy winning the last World Cup, which we're not there again for 3 World Cups. But the last World Cup, they didn't win it because they had the most talented team out on the pitch. They were all friends. They just had good chemistry. So they were able to play that game, man, and everybody was supporting each other. And when I look at the Canadians, it reminds me of that Italian World Cup team of the past. They have such good synergy between each other. They're laughing. They're on and off the ice. There's good synergy, and they're young. So, for the years to come, these guys are going to be just, I think, and Johnny and everybody else hopes that they can be a dynasty team, which I think they will be. I think the Canadians finally figured out the puzzle. It took 30 years, man. 30 bloody years. But, they've got that puzzle, and now they need to maintain it.
There you go.
They need to maintain this.
Well,
and we need a win, dude. We need a win.
2026 is the year for the classic sports dynasties to come back on top. The Canadians win the Stanley Cup, and the Yankees win the World Series. Make everything right in the world again. How about that? Make me happy, dudes. Make Johnny happy. Everybody's happy. I think Johnny would take...
Happy.
I think Johnny would accept a Yankee... if I told Johnny North, who hates the Yankees, Red Sox fan, but loves the Canadians, right? Loves the Canadians. I think if I told him, look, make a deal with the devil. You got to trade. Yankees win the World Series this year, but the Canadians win the Stanley Cup. You don't get a Stanley Cup unless the Yankees win the World Series. I would assume he would accept that.
It would be tough. It would be tough, but he would go with the Canadians. Johnny would go with the Canadians. Yeah. Johnny's a big Habs fan.
Yeah.
Huge Habs fan.
If you told me, Red Sox win the World Series, but next year you get the Expos back, I'd be like, yeah, all right, I'll take that deal. Give me that deal. Red Sox win the next 5 World Series, but you get your baseball team back at the end of it. Yeah, okay.
Oh, geez. Johnny says no deal.
No deal.
What? Deal or no deal? He went with no deal.
Well, John, how about this then? The Canadians don't win the Stanley Cup and the Yankees do win the World Series because you suck, pal. I'll see you tomorrow night right here on the Ringside Report Network.
Thanks for sticking with us to the end. We would really appreciate it if you could help us spread the word.
You know the drill. hit that subscribe button, flip those notification switches.
We are an audience-supported network, so consider becoming a recurring supporter at membership.ringsidereport.net. Check out our website at ringsidereport.net. Hope to see you again next time, and have a good night.